Hi guys, it's Stefan here from SXT Wellness. Today we're going to answer the most asked question when it comes to health and nutrition is, can I eat this? Can I have this banana? Can I have this cheeseburger? Can I have this pizza? Well, we're going to answer that question right now. Alright guys, welcome back to XST Wellness. We're going to answer that question. Can I eat this? Are carbs bad for me? Is meat bad for me? Is avocados bad for me? Is the Snickers bar bad for me? Okay? And one of the ways that we're going to answer this is every single thing that we're doing is contributing to an increase or a decrease of a particular outcome that can eventually have a potential significant positive or negative outcome on our overall health. All right, so everything we're doing is counting towards something, but we're not perfect, are we? We're not perfect. So how do we know how much is counting and how much isn't? Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to look at a habit of ours and we're going to times it over 2 time periods. And the time period is going to be a day, and then we're going to look at a year, okay? So what we're going to do is, I had a pizza last night as an example. How do I know whether pizza is healthy or not? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at what is pizza made out of. Well, you've got carbohydrates from the bread. You can get gluten-free options as well. You've got the cheese, okay? Carbs and not so much carbs and fat in cheese, just mostly fat. And then you've got the salt and the veggies, the hams, whatever you're eating, all right? Whatever flavor of pizza you're going to have. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let's just say the pizza is 8,000 kilojoules. Okay, 8,000 kilojoules. The roughly average intake for kilojoules is around 8 to 9,000, 8,700 for males, 8,500 for women, around there. Okay, around that number. So how do we know whether eating this pizza is healthy or not? Okay, well, we have to look at number one, what is a pizza, what it's made out of, what is its properties, what is its ingredients. But the next thing is we're going to look at that habit, that activity of eating one whole pizza to myself over a time period. Okay, so if I was to eat a pizza every day, okay, would you say it's healthy? Well, considering how much energy it has, okay, unless I'm a pro bodybuilder, unless I'm out there running 10,000 marathons every day, eating 8,000 kilojoules in one meal, in one sitting, at one time, I'm going to say is extremely taking in a lot of energy, okay? Energy dense foods. So over one day, it's probably not the best thing to do to have one whole pizza to yourself, plus your other meals, your breakfast, your lunches, your dinners. It's quite a big thing. So over one day, you could say that it's maybe not the healthiest option to be taking. However, if you're going to do that once a day, and you're only going to do that once a year, so 2 time periods there, once a day, and you're only doing that once a year, then you're going to ask yourself, well, how unhealthy is that? Well, it's definitely not going to be beneficial if you're trying to get a six-pack. I don't think it's going to be beneficial for you, but there are some components. There's veggie pizzas, so there are good components that you need from a pizza, which are going to contribute to energy usage, which is your carbs, your proteins, your fats, and your vitamins and minerals. So it's not the end of the world. So what we're doing there is we're taking that action and we're dividing it, or we're taking it over a time period. So I'm going to say that eating one pizza once a year on one day probably isn't the end of the world. I wouldn't say it's healthy, but I definitely wouldn't say you need to worry about it. I don't think it's anything to be concerned about. We're going to say that that's an okay option. Okay, but let's say if we're going to have that same pizza every day, okay, 8,000 kilojoules every day, okay, over a week. And we're going to do that every day through every week in a whole year. So 1 pizza a day, 365 pizzas. I'm going to say that's unhealthy. Okay, it's unhealthy because you're taking in a large amount of energy, and we're making some assumptions, and the assumptions that we're making here is that you're having your ordinary meals and you're medium exercising. So what that means is you're having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and maybe you're doing 10-20 minutes of exercise a day, and your mental health is okay, and etc. So we're just making some assumptions on your overall health, which we shouldn't do, but we're talking about averages here. We're not talking about the individual marathon runner or the person who's morbidly obese. Okay, we're just talking about average people going through their average lives. Generally speaking, you're going to have your breakfast, lunch, your dinners, and your snacks, a bit of exercise here and there, maybe exercising twice a week or something. So I'm going to say, based on the average person, that's going to be unhealthy. Okay, and Well, the reason why this is so important is because so many people ask, can I have this? Can I have a pizza? Can I have this? And the only way to really understand it is look at what you're doing, okay, and look at how often you're doing that activity. And that's really all it is to it. And so let's just say smoking, okay? Smoking can obviously, it contains carcinogens, which are cancer-causing chemicals, okay? But if you were to smoke one cigarette, okay, on New Year's Eve, 10 years in a row. Okay, it's definitely not beneficial. It's not going to help your lungs. It's not going to help you run any marathons. It's not going to help you. Okay, but is that the end of the world? Probably not. So I'm not advocating anyone to go out there and smoke cigarettes. That's not what I'm saying. But what you really have to do is say cigarettes are bad, yes, but how often are you consuming that particular product? And if it's once a year over 10 years, what we do know is that standing behind your car while you're taking the groceries out, while the car is running, there's carbon monoxide in those fumes. So standing behind your car is probably just as dangerous as having one cigarette a year. So you can start to see the significance and the severity of once a year versus if you were to smoke 10 cigarettes a day. So smoking 10 cigarettes a day over a 10-year period, 3,000 cigarettes, 30,000 cigarettes over that 10-year period, we can hypothesize, we can guess that's going to be extremely detrimental to your lung health, increase your risk of developing lung cancer, emphysema, etc., etc. So if you're ever wondering about how to figure out whether something's unhealthy, don't necessarily worry too much about what they're saying or the news. You can't eat a banana, you can't eat this. Just look at what you're doing on a consistent basis. And if you're out there eating 10 pizzas a day over 10 years, you can hypothesize, use your common sense, that's not going to be a good option, all right? Now, the best thing about this is you can do this for anything, for money, all right? I just recently bought some clothes. I spent about $200. I don't like spending my money, but I'm going to look at that activity over time. When was the last time I bought clothes? Well, I bought it a year ago. So $200 a year on clothes, again, it's a lot of money for me, because I'm quite stingy, okay? I don't like to spend my money, okay? But $200 once a year, I can get, I'm using it for work as well, so I'm presenting as well, so it's not just, for fun. It's not the end, but if I'm spending $200 a month on clothes, maybe that's a lot of money. Maybe it's not the healthiest option. So you can use that idea of the action over time for many different aspects, and that's what I try and do. If I'm eating too much carbs or eating enough, I say, well, how many carbs have I eaten in the last week? Actually, I've had 10 pizzas. I've actually gorged. I had KFC 3 times in the past week. Okay, that's how I know it's probably not the best. I had KFC once a year. Look, it's probably not the end of the world. So that's the way I try and work it in my life about, whether I figure someone's healthy or it's a good practice or not, is take the action, look at it, what the action's about, but also divide it over a time period. Okay, so hopefully that helped. If it did, please let me know. Comment below. Make sure you subscribe, like, link, you know what to do. Stefan Ramsey. Next video is coming up soon.